We've all seen it happen. Projects that are technically perfect but get completely derailed by people problems. So today, we're going to flip the script. We're going to turn stakeholder monitoring from some passive check-the-box task into an active, data-driven system that acts as your project's early warning signal. Man, this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The project environment, it's always shifting, always changing, and if your stakeholder plan is just sitting there, static, it's already out of date. The very thing that worked yesterday could, seriously, be the cause of a massive crisis tomorrow. That's not a risk, that's practically a guarantee.
So let's really dive in and unpack this dangerous assumption. Why is that set it and forget it mindset for stakeholder engagement pretty much guaranteed to blow up in your face? Okay, look at the key words here: active and data-driven. Monitoring is not just sitting back and watching things happen. No, think of it like you're the project's cardiologist. You're constantly checking its pulse, listening for those faint, tiny signs of trouble long before it becomes a full-blown code-red emergency. And this is the logic behind it all. Your project exists inside this human ecosystem. Monitoring is how you track the health of that system. You're always asking, okay, what did we plan to happen with our stakeholders, and what's actually happening right now? This is how you spot a key supporter who's maybe drifting into neutral territory, and you can act before they flip to being a resistor. All right, so how do we actually do this? How do we make it real? You need a system. So let's turn to the PMP framework and see how this all gets built into a formal, repeatable project management process. And here it is, right in front of you. In that classic plan, do, check, act cycle, monitoring is the check phase. It is the absolute critical step that gives you the intelligence you need to act effectively. It's what separates making smart, informed decisions from just, guessing. Now, this is so important. Monitoring is not some isolated activity you do off in a corner. It's deeply connected to everything else. When you detect that a stakeholder's attitude is starting to sour, that's not just a relationship issue. That's a leading indicator that needs to go straight onto your risk register. And if your strategy isn't working, that data is the trigger for a formal change request to update the entire plan. See, it's all connected. So where does all this data come from? Well, you set up feedback loops. You've got to systematically track 3 things. 1, are our communications actually landing? Are they being understood? 2, are our engagement levels where they need to be, according to our stakeholder engagement matrix? And 3, how quickly and effectively are we solving stakeholder issues? These are not feelings, okay? These are hard, measurable data points. All right, the series is great, but let's make this real. We're going to apply these concepts to our ongoing high-rise construction project and see exactly how this works in a messy, complex, real-world scenario. So here's the situation. The project's moving into a new phase, but now we've got nighttime work, which means bright lights and noise. We've got more trucks, which means more traffic. This is a major stress test for our original stakeholder plan. Let's see what the data tells us. And boom, here's the output from our monitoring system. Just look at that variance. We planned for the local community to be neutral, but the data coming in from our issue log and from social media shows their actual state is now resistant. Meanwhile, the client? Still supportive, sure, but that uptick in very specific technical questions, that's a new data point we need to watch. Our system is flagging a problem in real time. And because we have that data, we can pivot. We don't just blindly keep doing the same old thing. For the community, we react by increasing transparency. We launch public noise monitoring dashboards. For the client, we get proactive and address their unspoken concerns with more frequent, deep-dive financial meetings. These are specific, targeted, data-driven actions. But here's the thing. Formal reports, they only tell you half the story. The real danger, the stuff that sinks projects, often lies in what isn't being said. So let's talk about detecting the silent drift, that subtle, unspoken erosion of support. So what exactly is this silent drift? It's when a stakeholder smiles and says yes to your face in the big meeting, but then goes and works against you in the hallways. You have to remember, support isn't a simple on or off switch. It's a whole spectrum. And this drift is that slow, almost invisible slide from being your advocate to becoming your adversary. So how on earth do you catch it? You have to tune in to the informal channels. You start paying attention to the tone of emails, not just the words. You watch body language in meetings. You start noticing who isn't being invited to certain conversations. And critically, you have to identify these shadow stakeholders, those people with no official title, but who hold immense informal influence. Figuring them out, that's next-level political awareness.
And you know what? That level of political savvy is exactly what the PMP exam is testing for in all those tricky situational questions. So let's break down how all these concepts translate into absolutely acing the exam. You have to know this flow cold because the exam will test you on it relentlessly. Work performance data, or WPD, is the raw fact. The stakeholder missed a key meeting. Work performance information, WPI, adds context and analysis. Their engagement has dropped, which now creates a schedule risk. And the work performance report, or WPR, packages all that analysis for the decision makers. You absolutely must know the sequence. And they'll expect you to have the right tool for the job. You don't just react, you analyze. Use root cause analysis to figure out why that stakeholder is disengaged. Use multi-criteria decision analysis to figure out which of the 5 fires burning around you needs to be put out first. Okay, write this one down because this is a classic exam trap. Manage is about doing the plan. It's executing your communication strategies. Monitor is about checking if the plan is working. Just remember, manage is doing, monitor is checking. They're in 2 totally different process groups, and the exam loves to trick you into confusing them. Okay, let's pull this all together now. We're going to distill everything we've talked about into 7 foundational principles you can take with you to your projects and, of course, to the exam. First, monitoring is never a one-and-done thing. It's continuous and iterative, like a constant pulse check. Second, you have to use those feedback loops to challenge and validate your own assumptions. Third, absolutely master that information flow from raw data to actionable reports. And fourth, always be on the lookout for the silent drift. Fifth, don't just put band-aids on problems. Dig deep and analyze the root cause. Sixth, when you need to make a change to your strategy, make it official. Formalize it through your change control process. And finally, number 7, keep a detailed, diligent issue log. I'm telling you, it is one of the most powerful monitoring tools you have. So there you have it. You now have a robust system to see when your stakeholders are starting to drift off course and the tools to bring them back. But, detecting that drift is one thing. Navigating the complex political games and the tricky exam traps that come along with it, well, that's another challenge entirely.